Alright, I'm going to make a longer video on this topic about the lymphatic system. To be honest, I didn't really know much about this until I started looking it up like an hour ago, and now I know a lot more. But basically, what I learned is that the lymphatic system helps out with the immune system by the immune system fights an infection, and the lymphatic system transports the immune components to go fight. So there's these things called lymph nodes around your body. There's like 600 to 700 of them apparently around your body, and they're from one video I watched, it's like a military base, and basically the lymph node just has a bunch of like white blood cells ready to fight. And when there's like a pathogen that appears, like let's say you inhale a I don't know, like a cold virus through your nose, the tonsils are actually part of the lymphatic system, and they're like your body will transport immune cells to the tonsils to fight off that cold virus. And typically when you notice like your lymph nodes swelling, that's like an indication that they're actually fighting off pathogens. So that's one of the things I learned. And then it has a few other roles of like removing excess fluid from cells, and then also like transporting like fatty like lipids basically, and fatty nutrients around the body. Apparently the spleen is part of the lymphatic system. But yeah, so it's like, and then I went, of course the rabbit hole has to continue until I'm satisfied. So I was like, all right, how did, what, okay, for example, what would the human body look like without the lymphatic system? I searched that, and it was like, yeah, it would be really bad at fighting infections. And because I didn't understand, like, why can't the immune system just do everything that the lymphatic system is doing? But yeah, I guess they just serve two completely different roles in the way they're like structured. And so now I understand the value. Like the immune system, it has just one job. It's just to fight the pathogens. But it's like, the lymphatic system's job to get the immune system to where it needs to be to fight the pathogens. Like, yeah, it's like, I guess military is a good example. It's like if you have like, 3 spots where there's like fights happening, and like ABC, and there are a lot of troops at A, but the fight's happening at C, then you're kind of screwed. You need to move all your forces from A to C if you actually want to win the fight at C. So that's kind of what's happening with the lymphatic system. It just mobilizes the troops. But yeah, so that was cool. And then I was like, I want to learn like the history of the lymphatic system. Like, what does a lymph node, or like who discovered lymph nodes, and the lymphatic system, and it dates back like to really becoming developed around the 17th to 18th century. People didn't really have a good understanding of things until then, and then nowadays, like, there have been advancements in like MRI technologies, and I guess imaging of it, and like understanding where the lymph nodes are in the body, and like being able to map all that. So yeah, that's kind of like the rabbit hole my mind goes towards. I want to find if if somebody was designing the lymphatic system for the first time, how would they decide where in the body the lymph nodes are placed? I want to understand, like, how can this thing be designed? How can I build this thing? So that's why I like to know, okay, how does the otoscope work? What would it take for me to build that? And basically, even, I know it's been tried and tested for years, but I still want to know, like, where are the challenges in making a good otoscope, for example, and then how can it be improved? So with my mind, I'm always trying to think outside the box, and it comes pretty easily to me, because I have like a lot of associations kind of working together. I'm interested in so many different things, from like music to science to history to language to like even just sports. Sports is cool. To all of these things that I just have like a lot of just random knowledge about all of these things. And whenever somebody like I don't know, I'm just able to connect things together. That's what some of my friends have said. Like, I'm able to make connections between two seemingly unrelated things. So like maybe if I studied how a car works or something, I could uh, make that analogous to like how the body works, or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it just comes in handy when thinking of ideas. Like, okay, how can this otoscope work in a way that I don't know. I'm literally making this up as I go. Um, how can it work in a way where it also like aids in detecting smells, and it's like smells of the ear. All right, well, we'll do it like that. I don't know. You'd probably have to have some kind of sensor in there that is able to um, figure out what a ear smells like, through some kind of like cells inside of it. And there's the figure out how does the sensor do its sensing in order to realize that something is an ear cell and not anything else. I don't know, I felt like I went on a tangent there. So let's just get back to the original thing, which is the lymphatic cells, and the lymphatic system. But yeah, so after understanding what the lymphatic system does, and then also what basically how it works. Next, I wanted to find out like what kind of tools are used to diagnose things. I wanted to understand what kind of problems typically occur within the lymphatic system, and then also what kind of like surgeries are involved in solving some of these problems. Now, I don't really have a full understanding of what these things are, but there's one thing I searched which is called lymphedema, which I think is just like swelling of a body part, like I guess abnormal swelling. And then one of the surgeries, and this might be unrelated, but it was like some like lymphatic bypass surgery where and I also of course I wanted to see what the lymph node looks like. I want to see what like the lymph fluid looks like, so I googled those, Google Images, just try to get like actual real pictures of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I watched this surgery where it was like it connected the lymph node to a vein, or sorry, maybe it connected like the lymph vessel, which like transports the lymph fluid, and it connected that vessel to a vein to like bypass or basically like reduce the amount of fluid present at that node, so that the swelling would decrease. So that's my limited understanding, might be wrong, whatever. It still like gave me an understanding of like, okay, this is what doctors do. I think another thing that I'm really interested in is like, I know I'm not technically capable of replacing a doctor, but I want to understand what they do that makes them, able to do the things that other people can't do. And yeah, I mean, that's just being able to perform surgeries. And I know they have all this like knowledge. At the very least, I want to be able to narrow down what my problems are, so I spend less money on like tests and stuff. And so that's where it's like, all right, I'll do my own self-tests. That's like, non-invasive, of course. I don't want to do surgery on myself. That's ridiculous. But do like non-invasive tests. And then another thing would be like, all right, I'm going to measure the signals that are coming out of my body. I want to image what, like right now I have a healthy left ear, and I had a earache on my right ear, so I could image the right ear versus the left ear and figure out why is the right ear not performing like healthily compared to the left ear. So that's stuff that I can do, without really much like technical knowledge. I can just like narrow down, or at least show the doctor like, hey, this is what I did. Does this give you an idea of what it could be? And instead of them being like, hey, we're gonna have to do some tests on you, and figure it out. And honestly, that might be better, because their equipment is going to be like much higher quality and resolution, and is probably going to be able to spot things that I won't be able to see with my phone camera. But at least I'll feel more knowledgeable about it. But yeah, so to wrap up, since it's already like 11 minutes, these videos are hard to make, by the way, because it's like, I want to be able to explain all the knowledge that I've learned, but then I also just feel like I'm rambling, and then the time gets extended, and then it's like, oh man, I wanted to talk about all this other stuff, but it's already over 11 minutes, so whatever. This is something, this is like video number 10 or something, right? So this is a process that I'm just going to get better at with over time. And right now I just want to be able to, as the idea comes up, make a video about it, get into the habit of doing it. And this is something I'm really passionate about, really. It doesn't take any effort from me at all. It's like, I want to share with people. I want people to see, like, this is how I think. Maybe you can take away something from that. Even if nobody does, I love to share with people. I love to help people. And I love learning and explaining how things work to people. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, I had an earache, and it's kind of funny, but it was pretty painful. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a solid like past a 5. It was at least a 6. It was hard to take, and I was just sitting in my car. I was like, all right, before I go hang out with my friends, let me get rid of this earache, because I won't be able to focus. And so I just did I just stuck my finger in my ear, and I am not sure what happened, but I guess I rearranged the earwax, and all of a sudden my ear pain went away. And the funny thing was, like, a minute later, I was like, all right, let me just stick my finger back in my ear and see what happens. And the pain came back temporarily. And then I was like, all right, I'm not going to touch it anymore. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. I did, ask my AI, like, hey, this happened and the pain came back, but then it went away. What's going on? Why did that happen? So I have some, ideas, but nothing conclusive, really. I think imaging and collecting data is probably the only thing that would make me feel like I have actual evidence, but right now it's all like speculation. But yeah, my ear feels better. I learned a lot about how, what tools doctors use for diagnosis and inspection, and also like how this major system inside the body, the lymphatic system, works. So yeah, I feel very satisfied with the rabbit hole that I went down. And for all you people who made it to these 14 and a half minutes, I hope you got something out of it. All right.